Hello to all of you dear people all around the world. Welcome to Elixir of Awareness channel. You're watching episode 37. Our main source in this episode is a book titled 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. Lucius Seneca writes in a book titled On the Shortness of Life that one of the greatest sufferings of humans is that we've the mental ability to imagine infinitely ambitious goals when, in reality, we don't have much time at our disposal. If we live 80 years, that means we only have 4,000 weeks to live. It seems that the average human lifespan is ridiculously and insultingly short. In order to compensate for this curse of time, it means the shortness of life. We mistakenly try to go through life at several times faster speed. And the important question is, why do we insist on going through these 4,000 weeks, which are short enough, at a faster pace? Because in our life we need to slow down a little time to truly experience anything. We've to be present in the moment, and when we aren't present in the moment, we don't notice how fast time passes. For example, we suddenly see that from our birthday last year until now, we've traveled very fast without having had any deep experience during this time. This applies to all life experiences. For example, people say that we don't have enough time to read books, when every person normally has at least half an hour of free time during the day to read a few pages. But the point is that because basically for the study, we need to slow down the moments and pay more attention to the details and depth of the content, this is beyond our patience. So if we can experience life a little slower, we can live better and deeper.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
But why do we try to go through life experiences faster? Why are we in such a hurry? Mr. Oliver Burkeman believes that the answer to this question is that we try to escape from ourselves in life. It means most of us think that if the rhythm of life slows down a bit, we will have to face ourselves. And this image of ourselves has become so scary and has distanced us from ourselves that we seek refuge in the fast-paced world so that we never see ourselves face to face. It's as if we're riding a high-speed train that we can't see the actual picture of the surrounding landscape. And it seems that everything we see is more like a halo than a real image. Of course, in today's world, people who live with a fast rhythm are labeled motivated and successful. From the point of view of the modern world, these people are ideal characters that other people should live like them. And it can be said that people who experience life with a slightly slower rhythm became the limited inhabitants of this planet. But what's the solution? The answer is patience. Mr. Oliver Burkeman believes that what can save us from this situation is patience. We know that patience doesn't have an excellent reputation in today's world. In fact, in most of human history, patience has been interpreted as passivity. For example, in the old days, they advised the slaves that if they wait for a few more decades, their wages will be gradually paid. In fact, patience doesn't have an excellent reputation because it has always been a virtue offered to the poor and deprived. But the kind of patience that Mr. Oliver Burkeman talks about isn't the kind of passive patience. Perhaps a more appropriate word for patience is hesitation. To explain this way better, let's give an example. MS. Jennifer Roberts teaches history and art at Harvard University, and her students know that this is a tough field and their professor is also very strict. But all of them remember MS. Jennifer Roberts' class is one of their most meaningful and best experiences. The task of the first session of MS. Roberts' class is that the students should go to a museum near their place of residence and sit in front of a sculpture or painting and stare at that work of art for 3 hours without any extra work. They weren't even allowed to use mobile phones and had to focus just on that artwork for several hours. And this is a very strange experience. But what do you think is the reason for this difficult and strange task? MS. Jennifer Roberts says that if I, as their teacher, can't slow down the rhythm of my students' lives, I can't teach them anything about understanding art. In fact, she helps to coordinate the speed of the life rhythm of her students with the speed of the life rhythm of an artist. Because normally the rhythm of the modern world isn't in harmony with the rhythm needed to understand a work of art.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Seeing is very different from looking. Seeing requires assurance, peace, and patience. But let's talk a little about the experience of MS. Jennifer Roberts students. In the first 40 minutes, they were thinking that maybe they made a wrong choice to entering this hard major. After some time, they were thinking that maybe that work of art isn't attractive and they should go for another artwork. But because they weren't interested in repeating it for another 40 minutes, so they sat in front of the same first art piece until 3 hours were completed. Little by little, now the present tense is stretching. Then, gradually, moodiness and restlessness give way to fatigue, because people get bored after a few hours because there's nothing else for them to do. Suddenly, around the 80th to 90th minute, something happens without them noticing. It's as if their brains are detoxified, and now that they surrender to time and join the ocean of time like a drop, it's as if the whole nature of that painting or sculpture changes. Suddenly, the artwork reveals its secrets. For example, maybe there's a minor detail in a painting, something that you've to focus on a lot to see. Or maybe a strange feeling on the face of a character in a painting that tells the entire story of the painting. In fact, it's as if at that moment the students are mixed with those artworks and everything changes. This strange experience helped Mrs. Jennifer Roberts students to see the art from a different angle. In fact, the rhythm of art is a different rhythm, and with this practice they learn how to adjust their rhythm with the rhythm of art.
Don't forget to like and click the subscribe button for more weekly updates on mental health and self-development. Thank you.
Our reward for giving up the illusion of time control is an actual sense of control over time and the world. It's as if we're going on a journey through time and the world. Mr. Oliver Burkeman believes that our haste has disrupted the process of knowing and our curiosities. For example, when we encounter a problem or doubt about something or a thought occupies our mind, we immediately look for an immediate solution. It seems as if we should reach an accurate and guaranteed answer or solution as soon as possible. People run faster when they get lost, and this makes them get lost more. When we don't know something, our insistence on getting to the answer quickly makes us distance ourselves from knowledge. Sometimes maybe we need to spend up even to a year to solve a mental problem in order to reach the result. Maybe we need to allow our curiosity force to do its work even for a year. But as we said, this speed madness in us makes us not find answers to our mental questions very often. If we're willing to bear the feeling of not knowing for a while and make this experience a little slower, then our world will change. And what'll happen is that we start learning and experiencing like a child again. Mr. Oliver Burkeman refers to a concept called cosmic insignificance therapy. Brian Magee is a philosopher and has a very interesting idea. He says that the entire human civilization is about 6,000 years old, and we usually think of this period as a very long time. For example, think of the pyramids of Egypt, as if the civilization and antiquity of these works pull you inside. Let's refer once again to the title of this book. Now, if we want to calculate these 6,000 years with the scale of Mr. Oliver Burkeman, it seems that this entire period is only equal to 47 lifetimes. For example, according to this scale, the birth of Jesus Christ is only 25 lifetimes away from us, or in other words, 25 multiplied 80 years. And the number of lifetimes required to cover the entire history of human civilization, it means 75 lifetimes, is sometimes less than the number of people present at a small party. This is very strange and surprising. We're like a very tiny point on the axis of time, where on both sides of us are two big deserts called the past and the future that spread to infinity. We're crushed under the burden of our own arrogance because of the innate importance we place on ourselves. Michael Altshuler says, "The bad news is time flies. The good news is you're the pilot." We must to completely accept our insignificance in the ocean of time, and of course this is very bitter and painful at first glance. Dear friends, we will all die one day and be thrown out of the circle of time to a place we don't know where. Just like one day, without knowing from where, we were thrown into time and born. As we said, we don't have time, but we're time itself. No matter how small but we're a drop of this endless ocean. Oye Luis Borges says, "Time is the substance I am made of. Time is a river which sweeps me along, but I am the river, it is a tiger which destroys me. but I am the tiger. It is a fire which consumes me, but I am the fire. Well, we hope you enjoyed watching this episode. Our final question to you is, how do you experience life? What's the rhythm of your life from 1 to 100? And what's your experience? Thank you for being with us until the end.